Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC. We're live now. Welcome to another episode of Supreme Being. I appreciate all the support, all the positive reviews we've gotten on the podcast. And I want to talk about something very important today. Whether we're heading into a recession, regardless of any external circumstances in your personal life or in the market, what I'm going to discuss today will reign true and it will reign supreme always. And has really been one of the staples of my brand over the years. And I've seen the importance of it, which I'll walk you through it here in a second. I titled this, Who Actually Knows You? Right? Who actually knows you? Now, many of you who follow me are either aspiring entrepreneurs or you are entrepreneurs. And we know, among many other things, what allows your business to thrive on a completely different level is the amount of people that are aware of what you do. All right. I have a real estate team that's nationwide. I sell courses, I sell coaching, I do speaking tours. I do a lot. And what has gotten me to this position today is more people knowing about me and my brand. Now, of course, we're not discussing on this podcast what comes later, the value and all that stuff. Forget all that stuff for a second. Let's focus on who actually knows you, right? Because I want you to first listen to this example that I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to walk you through a typical day for you to show you how severely you're lacking in this category. Okay. I remember when I first came on the scene in 2013 as an entrepreneur, excited, ready to go. I picked up on something that other people weren't paying attention to, and that was video. Video was still very new at the time, right? A lot of people weren't paying attention. I think people going viral, like on YouTube and all that, was like a foreign thing. And, a lot of people were still kind of like, yeah, social media, whatever. Right now it's different. 10 years later, it's way different. But I'm talking 2013. This is what I noticed. Two things. Number one, when I would send people video, clients, potential customers, right? Friends, I always got a response. Okay. Always. Some sort of acknowledgement or some sort of response. Always. Sometimes when you call people, it goes to voicemail. I'll call you back later, right? Whatever. Every time I send a video, I got a response. Maybe not every time, but virtually every time. Number two, my colleagues and the people that even I looked up to at the time, I'd walk into the office and what would I see on their desktop? I would see either a paused video of mine or a video that they were watching of mine. And I said, man, I look up to this dude or this person. What the hell are they doing watching my videos? But I clicked. Okay. Now, in this case, people will say, well, Brian, they already know you. Sure. But even to the people that already know me, my extra effort allowed me to ascend in their mind in regards to category, which we're going to cover during this podcast as well. But I wanted to plant that seed because now, as I mentioned earlier, I want to zoom into your day-to-day life. Think about it today. Aside from your working hours where maybe it's scheduled or you, in quotes, force yourself and require yourself to make calls, go door to door, and do some of these touches. Outside of that, outside of what is not obligation, I want to ask you this question. Who knows you? Who lights up when they see you? Who can't wait to talk to you, right? Because this tells me a lot about your business and about you. Because every day you're going to the bank, you're going to the store, you're going to this place, the gym, that place. How many people actually know you? How many people look forward to seeing you? How many people realize that you exist, know you by first name and last name, know what you do, and are aware of what you offer, who you are, what you like, what you don't like? And that's a serious question to answer because many of you, I guarantee you, in your day-to-day, people don't know you. They might know your first name. They don't know your last name. They don't know anything about you, right? And that has just become so normal for everybody. Why have you allowed that to happen? Why are you just living a mundane existence? When not only is it great for your own personal life, but forget it for a second, because many of you who follow me are business people, most of you. How dare you be an entrepreneur and not just light up a room when you go into it? I don't care what your personality type is, because that's irrelevant to this conversation and this podcast, especially if you're a student of mine, because we know that shit is 100% a skill set, not what you're born with. Ask anybody who knew me from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if they thought I would be doing what I'm doing now and being the type of character that I am to this degree. And I guarantee you, all of them would say, hell no. The last person who I would thought would be doing what he's doing and being the way that he is and have developed the way that he developed. So I'm living proof. For sure, 1,000%. But all that really is, when we boil it down to it, when we shrink it down to the most basic thing, that's a choice. I choose to go into the supermarket and talk to people. I choose to befriend the people, right? The dry cleaners, the other stores that I go to, right? The other businesses that I frequent, the gun store, whatever it is. I choose to be talkative and even sometimes what feels like force the conversation and get people to open up. Why? It's so out of the norm. But man, that grows my network. It grows my reputation. It makes me known. It makes me money. It gives me fulfillment because we hunger. We're starving for connection. Conversation, connection, community. The 3 C's. Something I provide to my students for sure. But I provide it to the world as well. To whatever degree you're in my ecosystem, you get some semblance of that. Conversation, connection, community. Do you offer that to the world? And if you don't, why not? To your clients or potential clients or past clients, do you offer them conversation, connection, and community? And if you don't, you need to start asking yourself, why don't I? My sphere of influence is a community. We do events. We do a lot together. They're aware. They're cheering when other people are in pictures with me and videos. Hey, congratulations, Jim. You sold your property, et cetera, et cetera. They're cheering them on. I get email responses. Oh, congratulations to them. That's so cool. There's a sense of connection there within the community for people to send a message like that. Anybody can recognize that. How about the conversation? All right. Again, I tell you to obligate yourself to have these conversations every day, but outside of the formal obligation that I or someone else have put on you, are you going out of your way to meet new people? Like if you're not meeting 10, 20, 30, 40 new people every day, your business, man, it's not going to grow unless you're one of those people that pays for a ton of advertising that gets in front of a lot of people. And even then, are they just swiping past your business or are they actually engaging with it? Like as simple as this is, I gave you the example of your everyday life because that is a tremendous opportunity that people just, well, I'm not the talkative type. It doesn't matter. When you're going to realize that that's such an erroneous statement and it's irrelevant to the subject that I'm bringing up, I don't care. The universe doesn't care. I don't care. Your psyche doesn't care. Nobody cares that you don't consider yourself this or that or all the other buzzwords nowadays, extrovert, introvert, and all that nonsense. Because then what do? You put yourself in a box and you claim that what I'm saying you can apply because XYZ. And you create this pretty little story with a bow on top about why you can't do something. It's crazy. You've married yourself to your delusions, your doubt, your insecurities, and everything else, and your perceived shortcomings. Hey! It's nuts. So the act of becoming known to people requires zero skill. It requires, hey, my name is Brian. Hey, what's up? Hey, can I ask you a quick question? What does that do? These are conversation starters. Now, are you going to crash and burn doing it? Of course, everybody does. But that's the first step to doing this thing. It blows my mind that we live in a world where people thrive with connection, are hungry for it, want to run their own business, know that it's a requirement, and they're not out there talking to people and meeting people every day unless it's obligated, which is another reason I really push people to do the traditional methods of prospecting and lead generation in sales and in real estate. Because again, I'm now forcing that on you. What I'm discussing on this podcast in particular is when it's not forced on you, when it's not scheduled. Is it a part of just your beingness now? Your beingness as a person to go out there and meet new people and make connections? Because if it's not, you better turn that switch on, especially moving forward. We're moving into times where uncertainty, doubt, fear, stress, anxiety, inflation, recession, all the buzzwords that people are afraid of. Now, externally, you have more working against you. So you think you're going to be more likely to get, more comfortable or go out of your shell than you were before? I mean, it's never too late and you got to do it, but you have to ask yourself, if I haven't done it then, is it going to be easier now or harder? Well, either way, it doesn't matter. You need to start doing it. I mean, it really just blows me away. Start with the familiar places and saying hi. At the gym, nod to people, smile. Warm your way up to having conversations with people. Hey, it's a really cool exercise. What does that work? Can you show me how to do that? Man, I've said the dumbest things to people and conversations open up all the time. You admire something, say it. You appreciate somebody voicing their opinion, say it, right? This is how you can organically start creating connections with people, but who actually knows you? Because every day I have new people that I meet, then I have them follow my Instagram and stuff and jump on my YouTube and they're like, wow, it's really impressive. Well, again, my videos and everything that I post sell me. I don't have to sell myself, but I'm reaching out to people and talking to them. Just like when I have people come up to me, oh, Brian, I follow your stuff. Cool. We always chat for at least a couple minutes. I'm not like, oh, I'm too cool. The video version of me, that's not me. No, dude, we talk. I'm making connections. And as you get better at doing this, you can make connections with the people very quickly. I can make a very good connection with somebody in 3 to 5 minutes. Easy. Easy. So can you. You might feel like you can't now because you never do it. So when you have that random conversation, that's the second time this year, and we're almost in December, that you've decided to talk to somebody, right? But again, I'm going to reiterate, outside of obligatory actions like, oh, it's 9 to 12, I need to prospect and make phone calls and go door to door. Outside of that, what are you doing? Who knows you? What do you like? I'm a huge sports guy. That's why I donated and sponsored, youth teams, and I would go to the games and I would go talk to them if I could and go volunteer to speak at high schools and universities. And I went, man, a lot of people have come across me. So it's not a surprise that I built these platforms and these businesses and these skills. I mean, damn, it's that simple. It just requires a little bit of effort, yo. Why do we want to keep making excuses and be around the bush with this subject when the answer is staring you right in the face? Who actually knows you? And when I say actually, I mean knows you. Oh, that's Brian Casella. Now, oh, that's Brian. That's some dude I watch on YouTube. No. How many people actually know you? Because if you're listening to me and you're in real estate, what do you think is going to cause somebody to not interview somebody else or call you and say, hey, come over. We want to discuss selling the home or purchasing a house? People have to know you. Or we can say at the very least, to play it safe, the more people that actually know you, the more potential you have for those opportunities. This is where the cold calling and the door knocking, all these things come in. I'm allowing more people the opportunity to know me, which then increases the ability for me to get appointments, get leads, get transactions, and make money. And, we rinse and repeat. But see, the one I'm describing just now, that's obligatory. That's I'm showing up. This is my job. What I'm referring to specifically on this podcast, and I'll reiterate it for the 4th or 5th time, is what's not obligatory to you. And are you following it? Are you following the same formula that I've given you outside of your job and your working hours? Because if you're not, this is a very harsh reminder and indicator that you need to say, hey, this isn't a hat that I put on. It needs to transform into this is me. I don't care how you view yourself. What I'm telling you leads down a path of more fulfillment, more recognition, more success in your business, more happiness, and all the things that you're looking for in other places. The answer is here. Can you imagine having a down day, but everywhere you go, the people that know you, hey, Brian, what's up? Wanting to talk to you, craving conversation, giving you some attention. Hey, how's it going? Right? Because you normally reciprocate it. How could you be miserable or have a bad day? You won't for very long if that's your experience. But what happens with that experience? Well, it's created. I've created my experience like that. Those are the things that you cultivate. Think of yourself as a social and a real world farmer. We're just not talking about food right now. We're talking about good emotions, good vibes, good energy, good conversation, skills, reputation, recognition, branding, legacy. You're the farmer of that. Now, we're all in agreement here that a lot of people do many things, even that could potentially be detrimental to their long-term health, to feel good. This is why people do drugs, smoke, drink, right? Go to the movies, mindless entertainment, we call it, because it feels good temporarily. But one of the best ways to make people feel good that doesn't cost anything is be a great conversationalist. Say hi to people, smile, give them good vibes. Because in exchange, you get that, but you also have more and more people that know you that you've touched. Therefore, the potential for you to grow your business, right? This is what I call collecting invisible ROI, invisible return on investment, because I'm investing every time I have these interactions and talk to people. Boom, 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 boom. And the payoff later is a millionfold. Because if this becomes a part of my beingness and this is who I am and what I do, again, now it doesn't really require effort. Now, this is what I do. And my experience of life is this. Therefore, people are going to be a reflection of that for the most part, generally speaking. So even if you have that off day, like I said earlier, you're going to be reciprocated with that typical energy that you give people. And very quickly, you'll be knocked off that sad horse that you're on, and you'll be right back doing what you do because you have fulfilled conversation, connection, and community. Because the more you get to know people in these places that you frequent, the more you talk, the more conversations you have, the more connections you create, and the more sense of community you have everywhere you go. I mean, this is the circle, the 3 C's that people want: connection, conversation, community. But see, you have to be the creator of this. This is why I've created coaching programs and masterminds and all this stuff. I'm creating this to provide something that other people have trouble finding, just like I did. So I said, hey, I've created this, join me. Now, the cool thing about all these things is you can set requirements too. Depending on what community of mine you're going to join, there's requirements. Some very little, some a lot. That's okay. But generally speaking, when you go out and you talk to people and you are experiencing life, you need to be giving off all the indicators to not only attract people, but let them know and be interested in who you are, to get to know you and want to follow you and want to help you and invest in you. That's what you want. Because when you become the ultimate representation of that like what I call winning energy, people can't help but be attracted to you like a magnet. It's inevitable. It's intoxicating. It's what people want. It's what they know. It's what they like. It's what they trust. Why? It goes back to what I said earlier, that feeling. Man, you can make people feel good. You can do a lot if you can make people feel good, but it doesn't take a lot. And this is how we'll wrap up the podcast. Having some enthusiasm for life, smiling, having a good energy, going out of your way to say hi to people and starting those conversations and even just listening does a lot. It makes most people feel incredible because they don't have that in their regular life. Look at most social interactions. They're stressful and confrontational and rigid and they don't flow. It's weird. But again, if you're out of practice, how are you going to be smooth doing something if you're not a high level practitioner in it because you never do it? It's pretty simple. Conversation, connection, community. Focus on those things for these next couple days. All right. I know I have another podcast in 2 days, but for the next week or so, make those 3 C's a staple in your life with what you're doing now in your business, outside of your business, with your family life, your relationships, your friendships, and watch how quickly things begin to transform. Because when you focus on those 3 pillars of the C's, conversation, connection, and community, you start approaching it from a different perspective and you start doing things that you normally wouldn't do or wouldn't consider doing because you didn't look at it from the right angle. And now that you see it as a catalyst for growth and more connection and something that's better, right? It becomes a lot easier for you to implement it. Just like you would put these obligatory tasks in your job of talking to people when normally you don't do it because you see it as a necessity and requirement to grow your business. It's the same principle. Okay. So I appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you give us a review. We have all the links below to join me at Real Brokerage. Schedule a strategy session if you need it. Sign up for my coaching courses. All that fun stuff is in the description below. All right. We'll see you.